Hey, hello again. That is the Mighty Dash, and we're cruising at flight level 240 above Australia's Gold Coast. We are en route from Brisbane to Cairns, and that's spelled C-A-I-R-N-S, and I am reliably assured that that's pronounced Cairns. It probably sounds better in the original Australian, but it is not Cairns or Cairns. It is apparently Cairns. The reason why we are starting out here at cruising altitude is because I started this recording from takeoff from Brisbane, and I just got back from work, and it had been a very long day at the end of a very long week here in the U.S. in news, which I'm in. What with the shootings in Orlando and Donald Trump's continued political existence out on the campaign trail, and all the rest of that, that I found myself throughout the entire departure basically yawning my young ass off and sort of sleepwalking my way through procedures. And I cut the video to eliminate the cruise here, and I took a look. I screened the video, and I realized, oh my God, it was basically an embarrassment to all notions of airmanship. Not to mention an embarrassment, of course, to the Mighty Dash. So you can see here, even though it says maximum cruise for both props and 850 here, these levers are not exactly synced up, and I don't know why. But let me just show you the route we're going to fly, or we're on. This is the ill-fated, as a matter of fact, let me just, I'm going to delete that right now, because that's just I don't even want that recorded for posterity. It probably should be recorded for posterior, is about the size of it. That's how utterly and completely out of it I was. And even more embarrassing, I haven't even been drinking. It's just a function of didn't have enough coffee before I left. So we're going to continue this as we are right here. Just spin our MDA down to nothing. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, and set our decision height at 0 just for the moment. So here's how we're going to fly, and actually here's how we've been flying, and that's of course not it, but this is. So we departed Brisbane on the Coral 4 departure, which is the northerly departures, and we cut across here, and let me see, have we hit Gladstone yet? We are inbound to we're inbound to Gladstone, and at 240, so we're on the Q26 airway, and we're going to be on that airway actually all the way through some really nice scenery here. There's some nice nice airport, I think, at Hamilton Island from Orbx, but we're basically going to fly it all the way to Uplow, and then we're going to loop in and fly an instrument arrival into the south on runway 15 at Cairns. And let me just check the weather right now. It's 120 at 11, so that's more or less favorable to the direction of flight, and it looks relatively shitty, which should be fun. Let's see. YBCS, let's just see exactly what it is. Yeah, 110, 13 it's showing there. And broken at 5,000, few at 2,500, heavy wind. No precipitation at the moment, 2985, which we will set in our standby right now and expect that to change. What I don't understand is, so I take a pull on my cigar, which happens to be a Ashton Virgin Sun-Grown, which is a Dominican Puro, and Puro, or P-U-R-O, just means that all of the tobacco from the inside to the out comes from the same place, and in this case from Arturo Fuentes' farm in the Dominican Republic. Ashton is made for a tobacconist in Philadelphia, believe it or not, and it was one of the first super premium cigars, Ashton, and a cigar that no longer exists called Pleiades. Back when I was working at tobacconists in Washington, working my way through college, the Pleiades and Ashton were some of the first super premium cigars, and each one sold for the unheard of price of $2.75 a piece, and everybody laughed and said nobody will ever pay that much money for a cigar, and now these things are like 15 bucks a shot. So you know, I wish I'd invested in Arturo Fuente stock, but they are not publicly held. They are family owned, and rightfully so, and good for them. But with that said, now that I've awakened, just I've got my second wind here, let me just take a look and figure out why we cannot, for some reason, seem to fly our instrument arrival into here. So let's get done with that. This is our star coming in, and you see it dumps us off this way. And you can also see from Air Services Australia, this is the runway we're coming in on from the north west. And supposedly this is the ILS-Z, and supposedly it's got a glide slope and all the rest of it, and although it's an interesting arrival because it looks like the glide slope is not, no, it's 3 degrees, yep, glide path 3 degrees. It all looks to be normal, but I can't seem to find it in our database, which is odd, but that may simply be because my nav data is incomplete. Let's just look and see. Nav data doesn't show, of course not. That shows our IRS alignment. Yeah, let's see. Fuel on board. I've set that wrong. It says we've got 2 hours of endurance. And we've got, possibly a little bit more to fly than that. But I think that's going to work out because that doesn't account for the fact that we've got a descent which is going to use practically no power. But that could be another function of me being half asleep, which is too bad. But here's our nav data. No, our nav data is current. Let's just see what's up with our flight plan. So we're going to menu arrival. And this is right now our approach is the RNAV approach, which begins at Sunny, which is right over there, which is perfectly fine. But for some reason it doesn't present anything but the localizer. Now I'm going to try this. I'm going to try the localizer Z for runway 15, and we'll just see if there's a glide slope there. If not, we'll fly it as nature intended, which is using the tables and a rate of descent and our vertical speed mode. We'll make the transition at up below. That's all fine. There's going to be a disconnect here. There we go. Get rid of that. And heavens to Murgatroyd, that should be fine. And by the time we hit right here, we should actually see a glide slope signal too, I'm guessing. And I'm just not sure why it's not listed in the database, but that just could be a quirk. At any rate, let's set a new VNAV profile to come down. Let's see where a good logical point would be to this arc 15. So we're flying a DME arc in essence, and then we're intercepting the localizer right here, so we'll make that 3700 or above. And since it is a good distance here, we'll make it 5,000. So arc 15 at 5,000. See if it offers us that. Radial 360. Oh hell, let's make it up below and let's take a look at our chart and see. We should be at up below at let's see, Cody, rainy, sunny. Sunny at 3,700. So we'll do sunny if we can find it. Oh, this is going to be one of those weird ones. Alright, up below is right here. We've got 15 miles there. Let's make that 6,000. Can we do sunny? I mean up below, I'm sorry. Yes, we can. So up below there. Boom. We'll make it 6K. That should be reasonable. Okay, that's all good. Alright, so we got a ways to go till our TOD, so what I'm going to do is, now that I'm fully awake, we'll cut the video right here and come back near our TOD, and we'll see whether this misbegotten aerial adventure pans out or not. So I'll see you in a bit. And what's that coming into view? Why, it's the Mighty Dash, and we are back. We are approaching top of descent on our way into Cairns, Australia. And if you see the green arrow here, we've set up an RMI needle, or a pseudo RMI needle right there. And that is pointing to the Cairns VOR. We're going to fly a DME arc, 15-mile DME arc, in till we turn to the southeast and land on runway 15. Now, what's interesting about it is the chart lists it as ILS or localizer runway 15, and that's perfectly normal. I'm sorry if you're pedantic, runway 15, and all of it looks fair and square. However, there is no ILS approach for runway 15 in ye old Mighty Dash's database, even with new nav data. So we're going to tune in the frequency, which is 109.9, and there it is. And we're just going to see if, in fact, it makes its appearance. Let's give a listen here to VHF1. Listen for the tone, which is going to be dit dit da dit da dit 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 dit. And I don't even think Morse code is technically in use anymore as a general practice, but I guess it still is as an identifier for nav aids. Although these days, if you've got your handy-dandy Garmin GPS, it simply identifies it, and a lot of other FMCs will name it when it comes up. They'll look up the frequency, and they'll look up whatever the identifier is in a database, and then it'll simply present it and say, hey, that's the Cairns VOR. By the way, it is apparently pronounced, and I didn't know this, Cairns, even though it's spelled Cairns. I was going to say that Australians have a different way to pronounce everything, but that's kind of stupid because it's their city. They can pronounce it however they want. I don't think we have I don't think we have a city named Cairns, Cairns, or Cairns in the United States anywhere. But I'm open to correction. And yeah, those are pieces of the Great Barrier Reef, if I'm not mistaken. Those are distinct reef-like things down there in the water, and that's pretty cool. This is Orbx Australia. I got a suggestion, and damn it, I don't remember from who. I think it's from Steve Southey, but it could be from somebody else, and that was to fly to New Zealand as well. Now, I hadn't planned on doing it, but I think, you know what, I got a little freeware add-on for New Zealand and a bunch of nice-looking airports for New Zealand for free in X-Plane. I hadn't planned on doing it in P3D because, to tell you the truth, I'm a little short on cash until the next payday, and I can't really afford to buy a bunch of Orbx airports and also Orbx's New Zealand, although that's certainly a future purchase. I'm going to do it at some point, but can't do it this time around, and I certainly can't do it in a timely fashion. So I will do it in the IXEG-737, which is by no means a bad airplane, and we'll be more than happy to do it. I think we're less than 10 minutes from TOD. Yeah, we're 9 minutes. Going to set our altitude. We're coming in on, well, we're coming in on an arrival that technically starts at Uplow, so technically there really is no arrival, but we've got bits and pieces of it in the database, but our approach actually begins right here. That's our IAF, and our intermediate fix should be, well, that's our final approach fix because there's the Maltese Cross. And, you know, it says ILS. It lists what looks to be a glide slope. On the other hand, and it's got ILS minima, seemingly, although confusing ones. It seems to indicate a normal approach, glide path. On the other hand, it lists two non-standard ones here, and I will say that I'm embarrassingly not familiar with the chartology here. So, anyway, I'm going to spin our altitude down. Well, I natter here to 4,500. And you know what? We'll set it right down to our floor, which is 3,700. Set an alt cell right there, because that's as low as we're going to go. Now, we're going to be flying a DME arc, which means that this is going to be roughly pointing this way, or actually this more accurately will be pointing right off our wing as we go around it, and we will be looking at this DME, and it should read 15, or this DME, and it should read 15 nautical miles the whole way. Let's double check our weather. It's relatively grabastic, which is good. We like that. 2988, 140, almost right down the runway. Got 2988 now in our standby. That's ready to go. Everything else is good. We briefed our approach. Our missed approach, by the way, and if we don't pick up a glide slope here or here, we'll just do this as if it were a VOR DME or a localizer DME, in which case we'll use this minimum, which is 790. And our missed approach is to turn left at 015. In essence, we go right back to this arc, and then we come back around again. It's technically to fly this way and intercept the arc and then wait for instructions, but our instructions naturally are going to be to try again, asshole. The other restriction is that you can't begin your turn until the middle marker on the back course. So a bunch of little quirks in this approach. So we'll just see what we can see about it. Apologies again. I started. By the way, this is just gorgeous shots of the coast with active sky next and Rex soft clouds doing their little business. Looks really good. My deepest apologies. I started this video in midair because although I videoed the departure, I was so sleep deprived from long day at work and no caffeine that I literally, and I hate the abuse of the word literally, but in this case it is literally true, I was literally yawning throughout the whole thing. I was not literally falling asleep. I would have been figuratively falling asleep, but I was damn well literally yawning, and it sucked. It didn't suck to be me, but it would certainly suck to be a viewer. So we're going to be optimistic, and we're going to set 390 as our MDA. Because we are congenital optimists here in the Mighty Dash. And we'll get our V-speeds, although our little V-speed calculator seems to work very slowly. Let's see if we can make it work. There it is. It just, the script runs slowly for some reason. Don't know why. Alright. It could be because this is prepared 3.3, and I don't know. Because it's prepared 3.3. We really should turn on our radar, which is on, but we should tilt it down a little bit so we can see what we're doing, where we're going. And radar is on. Looks like we got nothing, so that's good. Yeah, we're just chugging our way in and having a big old time. Alt-cell, if you're new to it, means stop wherever you've set. On a lot of airplanes, you simply set the altitude and then it stops there. In this plane, you set the altitude and it doesn't stop there. Don't know why. On a very few versions of the Dash, I am told... Ah, there we go. Okay, so VNAV mode is ready. We will click it. On some, there's our TOD. On some versions of the Mighty Dash's autopilot, I think I read somewhere that they have a standard altitude function and you do not have to hit Alt-cell to stop. It simply stops wherever you set it, which is kind of nice, because I can't for the life of me really see why you'd want it any other way. It seems to me that's it's a great thing to forget, and it's a great thing to aid you to automatically fly into terrain, but I don't know. So at some point we ought to be able to see the field, and that looks like Cairns right there. Little oceanside mountain ridge there. Unless that is the field obscured by that crap, which is very possible because we're not abeam the station yet. Let's see. Yeah, there's going to be a little northerly outcropping and a harbor, and then the airport. So let's look for the harbor. Don't think we're there yet. I believe the harbor is somewhere right in there. But yeah, those are reefs. Very cool. I don't know if it's the Great Barrier Reef or whether it's just a good barrier reef, but a reef it is, and it's nicely represented here in Orbx Australia. Alright, so we're coming up on Barrier. Oh god, Barrier. Well, isn't that funny? There's a reef and it's Barrier. Of course it is. What else would it be? Alright. So technically our arrival gets us from up below to foggy to sunny, or foggy, of course, foggy. Let's just see what our legs page looks like. We actually really... Well, we're going down, so let me just start to roll off the power. I'm going to let it build up actually as fast as I possibly can, because why the hell not? To Uplow and then to foggy. Alright, I think we're a little screwy. Alright, yeah. So let's delete this. We got 2 Uplows, and a foggy, and we don't want that, so let's go straight from Barrier to Uplow. It's going to recalculate the VNAV. No, it's going to disconnect it. Alright, well, first thing, let's roll off some power and redo our VNAV. So VNAV 2 Uplow number 2 4500. That's what happens when you mix a star with an approach that ends at the beginning of the star. It's kind of stupid. Alright, so get us back into VNAV, and we're back on the path right there. Basically, that's because it already predicted the distance, gave us a suggested rate of descent, put us in that rate of descent, and the mere fact that I deleted some duplicative points, it made it lose its mind a little bit. But since it defaulted us to hold the same rate of descent, or the same pitch angle that we had beforehand, as soon as we went back to it, we were still on that path. So that's good to know. Now we're going to watch our DME needle creep over this way and creep down to 15 nautical miles, and when it gets just ahead of our wing, right about, say, there, we're going to start, not we, but the airplane is going to start its turn onto that arc, and with any luck it will keep us 15 miles away. Arm our approach. And unfortunately, unlike the 737 and other FMSs, first of all, it doesn't delete the stuff prior to the waypoint you're coming from, or even the one you're going to, but also whenever you go from some mode like this back to flight plan, it brings you to the very beginning. So if you've got a long flight plan, you have to scroll back down to it. So, little quirks of FMSs, FMCs, CDUs. Notice this switches over. It says we're in our terminal phase. We're going to get into some bumpy air in a second, so I'm just going to switch on the seatbelt signs. And I think our transition altitude in Australia is 10,000. So we're not going to do anything with the altimeter yet, but we will check the weather. And we are holding at 2988 and 9 knots. Okay. Let's see, our outside air temperature is 14. We're probably not in any danger of icing. Probably warm enough even if we're moist, so to speak. And I'm going to do something totally nuts. I'm going to increase our power. This is something you generally don't do in a jet. You generally descend at idle throttle. But if we were to descend at idle throttle in this airplane, the drag from the props would either force on us a descent of about 10 zillion feet per minute, which is nice when you need it and you want it, or we'd be going 14.5 miles an hour, which again is nice if you need it. This thing can slow down fairly quickly. A jet can't, but you've got these big ass things hanging out into the airflow, and so that's what's going to happen. Sorry, that's me drinking some water. Alright, now this is pointing to the airport, so technically the airport's right about there. I'm saying technically, literally the airport's right about there. I'll roll off a little power here though. We are getting a little bit fast. I'm going to get a new mic eventually. I've got this antlion mic that magnetically clips onto my headphones, and I know I've got a molal speech impediment. I've got a little bit of a lisp, I suppose, or a molal. It's not really a lisp. It's a whatever the thing is. It's a sibilance. It's not a sibilance, but it's a sibilance, and you can certainly hear it. It's from my teeth, or maybe it's because I don't know how to talk on a microphone. But this microphone really aggravates it, accentuates it. And it's a boom mic, so it's right next to those molars that are making the noise. So I'm going to get some other kind of mic. I'm not sure what, but we'll get something that will make me sound a little bit less like a dork and a little bit more like a geek. But like a geek or a dork, I'm going to put on my lights a little bit early, make sure my landing altitude is, airfield elevation is fine, and oh heavens to Betsy, let me check our airspeed. We're speeding up again. We're right on the hairy edge. Let me just roll off a little more power. Set our airfield elevation. It's at 500 feet now. I'm going by one set of SOPs which says put it at 500 above your target, so you're absolutely sure to be depressurized by the time you hit the ground. Other airlines do it. They set the exact elevation. I don't pretend to know which is right, and I don't know philosophically which is right and good. But the moment we're just going to do it the 500 feet above method. I'm just going to set our altimeter now down to 2988. The other thing procedurally I don't know, and somebody could definitely chime in, is, I should just look it up, is whether you reset your altimeter when you get to the transition altitude, or simply if you've been cleared down below the transition altitude, you set it lower immediately. So that's another one. So there's up below, or you below, or something below, and there's the beginning of our arc, and we're over speeding just a touch. So I'm gonna bring down our airspeed, and you can see as the air gets thicker, our indicated airspeed gets higher. The problem is that we're practically, well, we're at flight idle right now, so we can't really get any slower than that, but since we need to get below 250 anyway, we might as well. And we probably want to fly about 210, 220 in the arc, no more than that, just because it makes life easier. And I don't think anybody's going to complain if we fly 220 around that arc. Just going to trickle in a little power, and there we go. Stabilize that. I'm going to turn on our pump. Come on on. check to make sure we're not cross-feeding, and we're not. Passengers are already seated. Lights are on. Bleeds can come to min. And that's pretty much all we need to do. Alright, so you see right here, this RMI needle is going to start to point to our left wing. And I think, yeah, is that the field nestled into the mountains? It could be. No, it's probably, the field is probably right. Yeah, right about there. Yes, indeed. And look at that beautiful DME arc the thing draws. I will say that the 737 does not draw a beautiful arc like that, nor does it fly a beautiful arc. This plane flies a beautiful DME arc, or RNAV arc, or whatever you want to call it arc, but it flies it. And there's our localizer, right there. And we'll see if there's a glide slope that comes with it. We've got our HUD set up if we want it. IMC and primary. Let's just see if we can toggle them. We can. Alright, that's all good. And there is something on our display here that I don't like, and we're 1,000 above, and we're fat and happy. But if you look at our display, we've got 2 fixes here. Alright, it's going to level us. We're going to feed in some power. And try and stay above 210, just right about 210. Just keeping an eye on this, keeping an eye on this. And we've got a very slow descent here. I don't know why it's drawing the center fix here, but also our intercept. I think when we get to right about here, we will simply set a heading and do this ourselves, because I don't trust this very much. Alright, we'll set our reduced noise profile landing. We'll advance our prop levers. Our bleeds are set fine. I was going to say our auto brakes are set. Of course they're not. Just see how our RMI is pointing right to the beacon, which is right about there. And you can see we're exactly 15 DME, so this thing is flying us like a champ. And you can see it's just flying us in a slight turn. This is better than I could do, certainly. Ordinarily, the way you'd fly this is with a heading bug, and you'd be making 10-degree turns every, every couple minutes. This is just flying a constant arc, which is pretty amazing. Screw you, Airbus. The Mighty Dash can do it. Okay, GPWS landing flaps at 15. It will be a flaps 15 arrival. Again, now we're coming around, you see, to our localizer here. Ultimately, when we're pointing about this way, we will set a heading and we'll simply intercept the localizer using our nav and switch over our nav source. And you can see there's like a haze layer of some sort. Okay, looks good. Let's get up our chart here. We don't need that anymore. Alright, so we want to be 3,700 making our turn. We can do that. Alright, here we come. I think this is a remnant of our old star. you know. Intercept localizer, center fix. Yeah, I don't like this. Center fix 15. Localizer 10. It's going to try and fly out this way if we keep this thing in at any point. So what we're going to do is, as soon as we get over this fix, we're just going to go into heading select mode and set a reasonable intercept, and then we're we're going to do this ourselves, because we've set up a little recipe for disaster here, because that's loc 10 and this is center fix 15. Alright, so let's first of all, let's just come down to 3,000 in 1 second. We're going to do this ourselves. Now, as soon as we turn, let's just line up our heading bug with our intercept course. Our intercept heading, sorry. It is turning for us. Our localizer is coming in. I'm going to slow to below 200. Drop our first notch of flaps. And let's just flip our nav source right now. Nav, there we go. And we do have a glide slope. Alright, hallelujah. A glide slope we've got. Okay, flaps 5. Just going to slow a bit more. And here comes our glide slope. I'm going to arm the approach. Screw that. Get rid of this. And in a second we'll start coming down. And we should come down. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we capture the glide slope. If not, we'll fly it ourselves. Okay, here comes the localizer. Come on, glide slope. It is climbing us to the glide slope. That's not good. And now I have to bring my props back again. And rearm this. And do that. And come on, glide slope. Come on, baby. Come on in. And we're going downhill. Alright, good. Gear down. Flaps 15. Get ourselves established, and then we'll go flying. Alright, 122. Actually, I would like that to be more on the order. Let's just bring our speed down. Like that to be more on the order of about 125. And in any case, we're a little fast. Let's get it right down to flight idle here. And down comes the speed. Actually, we should set our missed approach altitude, which is 3,700. Now that we're on the glide slope. And here comes our speed. That is nice. Now we can start to reintroduce power. Make it about 14% at the moment. We're going to slow right on down to where we want to be. Let's lose that. Alright, now we can bring it right about up. There we go. And you'll notice that gets us to about 18%, 17, 18%. That puts us right on speed. Alright, and so now that we are right on speed, let me just go flying here. Just keeping the needle centered. Not making any drastic changes at all. At our rate of descent, it's a little bit low. So we're getting a little bit high, so I'm just going to let the nose come down ever so slightly. It's going to creep up the speed. And we're getting a little bit right of center line. Fix that. Our flight director is telling us to go the other way, but I'm going to go right by the raw data here. And our raw data, which is that blue diamond on the bottom, is telling us that we are to the right. And it won't be in a minute. There we go. Now we're just a little to the left.
1,000.
Alright, here we are. Boy, does this look beautiful. Or what? This looks great. Alright, we do have a 10 knot left to right, which seems to be gusting too. Come in just a little high. Duck down a little bit and lose some speed. We're actually a little low energy, believe it or not. Whoa, little gust.
500.
Man, that looks good. Alright, there's the terminal. I see the turnoff I want to take. Pretty shameful lineup here. Okay, now I'm getting used to these Aussie pappies. Now we're right on profile. A little fast, but a little bit of an additive for the wind, so we're probably going to float ever so slightly.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Oh, shameful. Shameful. Very bad. Alright, 2 in beta. Wow. Let's get out of Dodge here before we further embarrass ourselves. That was hideous. Oh man, what a beautiful airport. Beautiful city. Holy crap. A little bit of aliasing going on, but that's my video card and my video settings. And there's another dash. We like that. Get our AP going. Turn off our taxi lights. We really don't need that. Off come the heats. Bim bam boom. We'll go park with our other mighty dash. Park with our buddy here. Wow. Look at that. Let's see where this guy is. Alright, we'll pull it up right here. Turn on our gust lock, turn off our pumps. Turn on our gen. Turn on our APU bleeds. Alright, off come the strobes. Off come all that. Bring our props down. Open up our door. Kill our million cautions. Wait another 10 seconds and kill number one. Let the passengers go. Give him the old high sign. There we go. Boom, boom. And off comes number two. And let's just see what we look like here. Look at that. Domestic arrivals indeed. Very, 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 very nice. And I guess that's the old control tower off there to the right. Anyway, I think what we're going to do is we're going to stop here and probably do a flight in the 737, a series of flights. We'll do like a side trip. We'll go from Sydney to, I think, Christchurch on New Zealand's South Island, and then we'll proceed probably to Wellington and Auckland, and well, maybe Papua New Guinea or something like that. Papua New Guinea. Got a few floating houses here, but other than that, it is magnificent. So, with that said, apologies for the landing. That was really, really atrocious, but we'll work on it. We'll practice really hard, and the next time it'll merely be terrible. And maybe we can take some comfort in avoiding horrendous and just being kind of mediocre. We'll work our way up to mediocre and see where we can go from there. As always, thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of it. I get something out of your questions and your help. Already got a piece of help from a gentleman who reminded me why the FMC in the IXEG 737 only stores the en route portion of company routes and doesn't store the SIDS and the stars and the arrivals, and that's because in the real world it doesn't either. And I'm very grateful for tips and things like that, because I'm always learning a little bit of something, and that's part of what I like about doing this. So once again, thanks a lot, and once again, as always, I'll see you in the next flight. Bye-bye.